Good morning, people. Good morning. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 475 of the Two Dumb Yinzers. I'm back here this morning on this Friday installment of our show with Mike from the Steeler Central's mobile studio. Derpy is in the house. How you doing today, Derpy?
Good, good.
Good. Hanging in there, man.
Derpy.
Yep.
All right, guys. 32 hours from now, the Steelers season could be over. Has that even hit anybody that tomorrow? And as
That could
Derpy
be it.
mentioned, it could be it. And as Derpy mentioned to me prior to the show, there could still be a long shot possibility if we do lose. But I think if we lose this football game tomorrow, it's going to be safe to say that, come on now. But I just, has it even dawned on anybody that this, the Steelers season could be over tomorrow? I haven't even looked at it that way, and now that I'm thinking that, it kind of gives me a little bit of anxiety.
I have not been trying to think about it. So I haven't thought about it, but I've heard people say it. I just don't want to hear it.
Me either.
I don't
Before we
want to
get,
think about it, but it is true. Like we can go out there, even if they win, the season could be over. That could be it.
yeah,
Yeah.
They're done
yeah,
because Miami's not looking that good. Jacksonville's getting Lawrence back. Those are two things we need to have happen. Those two
I
teams
came
need to
up with
lose.
Mike. I really come up with a solution for this. You know how
Yeah.
Tennessee's talking about, they're really fixed on beating this Jacksonville team. They're fixed on messing things up for teams in their division. I have an answer. I have a resolution. If they beat Jacksonville, we encourage the football gods to lift the curse of the terrible towel. Huh?
Yes, we
What
do.
better thing for the Tennessee Titans could happen if they would win this game tomorrow than the curse of the terrible towel be lifted from when they idiotically took and shined their shoes with the towel and everything that they did, and they've been a really bad team with the exception of 1 year, a couple seasons ago. We will talk to the football gods, us here in Pittsburgh, because we have high favors, everybody knows, and we will say to the football gods, if the Tennessee Titans win this game over Jacksonville, we will
Mm-hmm.
we will all endorse the,
Yes.
the curse of the terrible towel to be lifted from Tennessee. What do you guys think?
I am in agreement with that sentiment. I don't think like any that happened how many years ago?
Yeah, and they've been
Uh,
bad ever since,
They've
except
been
for that
bad ever since.
they had that 1 year, Mike, where they were good, they were looking good, and they ended up getting beat in the
Mhm.
playoffs because they were so confident they were going to go all
Yeah.
the way, like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was part of it as well because they weren't able to advance on and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Take
So
this, get this win. We take that terrible towel
we
curse
take
away.
that curse away. King Henry is not the one who shined his cleats. Okay.
No,
Let him run all over Jacksonville, who just this season football gods desecrated the terrible towel.
yes, right. So
Okay.
you see how I mean, if they're questioning this resolution, you can see how it would work in their favor
Yeah.
because again, as you
Uh-huh.
just mentioned, Jacksonville just did this to the towel. So the
Yes.
football gods will be more than willing to
Yes.
lift this. I'm pretty
I
sure.
hope so. Or the football gods are going to be like, you know what, boys, we're sitting this one out.
Yeah,
That's going to be our luck.
they're like, we don't
Um,
we don't trust this referee crew on
no,
Saturday.
No.
yeah, yeah. So that's what I'm more worried about is the ref crew, not about
Yeah.
the other games. I'm worried about this ref crew and they're going to influence the outcome one way or the other. Is the NFL ready to have three teams from the the AFC North in the playoffs to have a potential, championship game of two AFC North teams? Are they going to want that?
That
Uh,
is true.
guys, here's something for you. So while we're talking about playoffs, meaningful games, we briefly touched this a couple weeks back. Mike Tomlin has coached 274 games, guys. 274 games for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He only coached in just one game in which Pittsburgh was mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. That's pretty wild, pretty
That's pretty
amazing.
wild.
It's pretty consistent.
That's yeah, pretty consistent. You wish you win more of those games, but at the same time, like this is what the Roonies want, man. They want to be in it week in, week out, and they are, and they're in it every year. Some years, you make it. In a lot of years recently, you haven't made it, but to be competitive up until the last game of the year and for all but 1 year out of 17, that's not bad.
No, it's as people will go on and say, and there is the big debate. I mean, is Tomlin is he the guy? Should he be? Should we keep him? Should we not? It's very controversial because once you break things down, he's a very successful coach.
Yeah.
He just chokes, and that's in itself
There's
a thing. However, you bring in another guy, you don't know what you're getting. You could be looking at a
there's 30 other teams.
a 5-year window of time where people were waiting for this coach to play out and see, this is his system that he's bringing in. This is going to take a few seasons, so we're going to be bad for. So again, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that I even have the answer, but as I said, it's very debatable because one way or the other, it could really blow up in your face.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Pittsburgh is ready for that.
No, oh my God. Just imagine the first losing season we have this year. If we or the first losing season we have with a brand new head coach. Well, all the people who championed for Tomlin to be fired for and who ridiculed him for having no losing seasons, are they going to jump on the bandwagon of, oh, this guy sucks. Look, he's losing right out the gate. So, and it's the devil versus the devil you don't know situation.
It would certainly lobby for the owners and GM and everybody to get together and talk to Tomlin, because here's the thing. It isn't like he's doing a terrible job coaching. We just choke. We choke in bad situations. We choke in the playoffs. We choke in big games.
Injuries.
And talk to this guy because, again, these are fixable things. The guy, he's not perfect. But on the other hand, as I said, if you would get rid of Tomlin and bring somebody else in, you don't know what you're going to get. There could be, like I said, a 5-year window that we could be terrible just to give this new guy time to get his playbook and everything in his way. But this is something they need to sit down, because you see what the difference is between the team that's playing right now and the team that was playing 3 weeks ago. Mike Tomlin, he can certainly adjust. He can certainly make changes. I think he just got a little bit too comfortable in that position for a period of time, which, you know what? It's human nature. Think of anybody at a job site. If you're somewhere long enough, you're eventually going to get comfortable to where you don't do all those little things that you did when you first started, and you want to impress everybody and you wanted to put your best foot forward. You're in like Flint, and nobody's going to say anything. And until somebody does say something, that person may continue those traits. So, I think before we hire anybody, more should be done to try to get Tomlin to turn the ship around. Yeah. Whether he can, whether he can't, I think that's the solution. I don't think running off. However, an interesting thing popped up the other day. Would you accept, now, Derpy, this is especially for you, would you accept Jim Harbaugh, the Michigan coach, to be your Pittsburgh Steelers coach, being that you're such an Ohio State fan?
No.
This guy took San Francisco to the Super Bowl after how many years? He did what he did with this Michigan program. They're in the national championship, and you would not say you would be okay with Jim Harbaugh being the next Pittsburgh Steelers head coach.
Yes.
Derpy.
I love it.
A little bit of cheating, and they're in the national championship game. I'm all for it. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Well, this guy,
bring Belichick,
and bring Urban Meyer.
All of these Harbaughs do is win. I mean, look at their record in any coaching. All they do is win.
And all they do is win, but they can't beat Mike Tomlin.
And could you tell me this? Wouldn't that be an amazing? And don't get me wrong, I'm not lobbying for for Jim Harbaugh,
but it would be funny.
Harbaugh, you would have the Harbaugh brothers at the top, both going at it 2 times a year in the AFC North. What a bigger storyline? What could be a bigger storyline than that?
Yeah, that would be wild. That would be fun and interesting. But back real quick, I would like if they needed to go through the entire coaching staff, evaluate who they're going to keep, who they're not going to keep, and then do full honest interviews from outside the organization. Rooney needs to open up the pocketbook and spend money on assistant coaches. If people want to say Mike Tomlin doesn't hire, the best assistant coaches, Rooney's the one who signs the paycheck. He is the one who's like, you know what? I only value assistant coaches at this amount of money. That's all we're going to pay them. So you can have a brilliant mind and you want to hire them, but if, the paycheck's not there, they're going to go somewhere else. So it has to be, Tomlin willing to hire these guys and Rooney willing to pay these guys the money you need, because you spend the money on the coaching staff. That can help you. That's going to help you in the long run, man. We had Mike Munchak. He was one of the might be the greatest offensive line coach of all time. He turned some of these bad offensive lines into pretty good units.
I do want to say good morning to Brian on the board. Welcome, as always. Yeah, I mean, so, again, be careful what you wish for. Let's try to, like I said, get him out of his comfort zone. It's a natural, it's a perfectly human nature. Come on, I've done it, you've done it. If you say that you haven't,
you become complacent.
Absolutely. And I think that, maybe the problem isn't so much the guy's a bad coach, because obviously he's doing something right according to a bunch of numbers and statistics, but you got to sit down and talk with the guy, and that becomes difficult to do as well after you have somebody employed for you for 17 seasons. It's hard to take that person aside and say, hey, we have to fix what you're doing. But I think these are the things that need to be done in an attempt to be one first before we talk about chopping the head off this horse and going and find something new. But guys, I also want to say before we get started, I got a few other interesting things here. Mike Derpy, of course, we talked about the players that got selected to the All-Pro game from the Steelers yesterday. It was TJ Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick, and also Miles Killebrew. Interesting number here. Only 4 players in Steeler history have made at least 6 Pro Bowls in their first 7 seasons, and those 4 players are these: Franco Harris, Mean Joe Green, Marcus Pouncey, and TJ Watt. So there you go.
Two Hall of Famers, but borderlining Marquise, and the way his career, TJ Watt's looking to be like a first ballot Hall of Famer. Not bad company.
Yeah, so there you go for a guy that doesn't stop the run at all, but he does
anymore.
I tell you this though, we will know tomorrow more than likely if TJ Watt will be the sack leader, because he's tied right now at 17 with the guy from Cincinnati. If he doesn't get any sacks, it may look like he might not get it right.
Yeah.
But if he does, and that helps his cause, and he could build, and maybe he can win it. It's going to be interesting. That will also be something to keep our eyes on over the weekend. TJ Watt's race for the sack leader, which will be the first player to do it 3 different times in his career.
That's insane.
That's a pretty insane number. So
I'd like to see him get it. I'd like to see him do it.
There's Derpy giving his opinion from the bathroom again.
From the bathroom, yeah.
He's totally not defensive player of the year.
Max Crosby, baby. He's going to have an easier time against Snoop Huntley than Lamar. So,
and I also tell you this, guys, I do have something very important in front of me, something that I've been digging and trying to find all week.
Ooh.
I have the list of players that did not practice all the way up until last night for the Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh.
So this can in fact give us an idea who it is we will and we will not be seeing tomorrow. I do want to say, I don't know if anybody caught this, Mark Clayton, former Ravens wide receiver, is confident that the Ravens can still beat the Steelers even with the scout team. So
I saw that.
Let's take a look at the list of people that we will not be facing tomorrow. So on the list of the practice report from yesterday, the most recent and the last day of practice, number 1, Odell Beckham Jr. did not practice. Number 2, Ronald Darby, the cornerback, out with an illness, did not practice. Zay Flowers, wide receiver with a calf, did not practice. Sky Hamilton, knee, the safety, he did not practice. Linebacker Malik Harrison with the groin did not practice. Cornerback Marlon Humphrey with a calf did not practice. Of course, we all know Lamar. Cornerback former Steeler Arthur Millette, limited with a hip. Linebacker Delshon Phillips with the shoulder was limited. Linebacker Patrick Queen with the shoulder was limited. Brandon Stevens, cornerback with an ankle, was limited. Outside linebacker Kyle Vanoy with the calf was limited. Wide receiver Tylen Wallace, with a knee, he was limited. Safety Ardarius Washington with the pectoral was limited. Defensive back Daryl Worley with an ankle and a shoulder did not practice. And finally, Kevin Zietler, the guard, with a knee and a quad, did not practice. So according to this list of people that did not practice all the way up until yesterday, the last practice of the week, and the people that were limited, guys, we might just be getting that scout team that Mark Clayton was talking about.
Yeah, and Ryan, there's updates to that list now too.
Oh, please.
Oh,
Rain them
please.
on me, baby. I want to hear this.
Zeitler, the guard,
Yeah,
out.
that was the last
Worley,
one I said. Yeah, and Worley.
out.
Yeah.
Humphreys, out.
Did you
Malik
listen to
Harris,
any?
out. Yeah, but you said they didn't practice. These are officially ruled out.
I
Odell
gotcha.
Beckham,
So they're out.
They're
they're
out.
out. Odell Beckham ruled out. Zay Flowers is listed as doubtful. He's been, yeah. So
You know
Zeitler,
what's
Worley,
wild?
Humphrey, Harrison,
We
Odell
literally beat this
Beckham
team in
out.
6 of the last 7 meetings. We'll
Yeah.
lose to this squad.
We'll lose to this
We'll
squad.
lose to this one.
Well, you figure like all those guys that are being called up to play, they're going to be like a Mason Rudolph. They got nothing to lose, so they're
Yeah.
going to put it all at the line.
They're trying to find a spot somewhere next year, no matter where.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is.
So we're going to get like their A++ game. You know, not the typical A+ that you get from.
And now
you
I don't know what
Steelers
to
Ravens.
expect. You
I
got
know,
3.5 inches of snow coming. You have the worst referee crew. You have nobody for the
They
Ravens
signed
starting.
Dalvin
Yeah.
Cook.
I don't even know what to make of this, guys.
Yeah.
I do want to say also hello, good morning, and happy New Year to you, Ralph, as well on the board. Always great having you on, my friend. But that is, guys, that's the list, and Mike just made it even better with all the people that were limited.
Yeah. Oh, and
out.
yeah, the safety at Washington, he's put on the IR, so he's done. Yeah. So yeah. Oh, you were going through that list, and I was like, I saw that list too the other day. I was like, oh, let's double check that real quick, see if any updates. And turned on ESPN, and it was like red. I'm like, this is getting better and better.
I like it. I like it a lot, everybody. I mean, this certainly would make one think that we are at an advantage going into this game tomorrow. Tomorrow, the first NFL game of the weekend, 4:30. The Steelers at the Ravens. A lot on the line for the Steelers. The Ravens are already looking at the playoffs, guys. I'm pretty confident that this game is absolutely meaningless to them. They're probably not investing too much energy, too much effort. They're probably trying to keep their people healthy because they know that the ones that matter come next, in 2 weeks. So, hopefully, again, this is favorable. But this list is long. I like it, and as we talked briefly about yesterday, Minka, did you find anything about him, Mike? Is he back?
He was still, last I saw, he was still limited. Real quick, give me 1 second here. Pull up injuries. Minka, he's still listed as questionable.
Okay.
Landon Roberts said he was playing.
I mean, we're generally for what we have and what we do, we're generally healthy. I mean, of course, we have all the injuries that we've been battling and losing players throughout the season. But according, what Baltimore has going on, we're generally healthy. We're putting out a generally good team. We have the youngest offense in the league. We have one of the highest paid up defenses in the league. Maybe maybe we could bring something together and win this football game, guys. And again, with a little help from the football gods, and if they would look down and say, you know what, you are right. The guys in Jacksonville are absolutely terrible people. Let's lift this curse off the Tennessee Titans. Take the terrible towel curse away. Beat the Titans or beat Jacksonville for us. Or we could wait all the way till Sunday night and see if Buffalo could beat Miami. But guys, it starts tomorrow at 4:30. We have to beat this skeleton crew, this shell of the former Baltimore Ravens of last week, and we got to beat this team in order to make the playoffs. Guys, I have some confidence. Again, there's a lot of things that go into it. The weather being one, the referee crew being two. I mean, those are two pretty big things. Yeah. But if anybody would have advantage, you would think it'd be the team that's playing most of their starters, right?
You would think so. They're already up to game speed, but my big fear is we're gonna be playing these people who, they've been chomping at the bit all year to get into a game. Now they're into it. They're gonna be amped up, ready to go. One, because they're getting a chance to play. Two, it's Steeler week. They haven't beaten the Steelers consistently in years now, so they're also have something to prove. They want to be able to knock the Steelers out.
Well, I got to tell you this.
I'd rather be going up against a full healthy team, man.
Well, let me put it to you this way. The Ravens are sub 500 versus only 2 teams since the year 2020. Yep. One of them is the Steelers. The other one is the Dolphins. The record against the Steelers is 1-6 since 2020. And the record against the Dolphins is 1-2 since 2020. So, if we can pull this one off, as I said, we'll lift that curse. We'll lift the curse from Tennessee. I'll give back everything I ever got for Christmas, whatever. We got to win this football game tomorrow. That's the most important part. So, what do you think, Mike? Do you think that we're going to win this football game?
I did yesterday predict that we would lose by like.
But
I
you
think
always
like,
do that, though. You always pick the other
Reverse
team.
psychology.
no, this was not
No,
reverse psychology.
Yeah, Mike
I just,
tries to trick the football gods, and I don't know.
no,
if that's
I
fair.
don't. I just like, I can see it being tied and Justin Tucker kicking another 60-yard field goal. It's a
You're
chip
right.
shot for him. So that's just what's scaring me there. But now that they're losing players, that's just going to help the defense a lot, man. Especially our secondary and our inside backers. When you're losing Odell, that's huge. Maybe Zay Flowers as well. They're running out of wide receivers.
They
So
did randomly sign Dalvin Cook.
yeah,
Well, that's
Dalvin
where I was.
Cook, yeah, but he
That's where
hasn't
I was
done
going
anything
next,
this
guys.
year.
So
I
the
know, but
Ravens,
it always happens. They sign a random player, and then the teams that face the Steelers, they sign a random player, and then they go off. They make them hold
on.
good.
Let me stop you for a second, Derpy. Of course, the Ravens did sign free agent Dalvin Cook yesterday. They signed him yesterday. Does he play? Does he know enough about the offense? Is he? I mean, you're going to the playoffs. You're going to want this guy. Does Dalvin Cook play tomorrow?
I could see it and simplify the playbook. Give him give him a couple. But yesterday, you don't have time for the walkthrough. Probably not. He's going to be ready for the playoffs. Yeah.
He's never going to have anything that even says Baltimore Ravens on his body until game time, basically. Do you play that guy? Do you,
no.
and if you do play that guy, how effective is he? I can't imagine he's going to come in behind backup guards. And, I can't, because Derpy had texted me yesterday. He said he's going to go off, watch. But I thought to myself, that's a long shot, being that it was just yesterday.
Yeah. And
has he even got to Baltimore yet?
No, and Gus Edwards, he only has 700 some odd yards rushing, but he has 13 touchdowns, averaging 4 yards carry. If I'm Baltimore, Gus, you're the featured back. You are running every single play. He's a good, powerful running back. He's the guy I'm worried about. Him and Isaiah Likely, the tight end, are the two that I am worried about on that team.
Mike, what's the keys to winning this game for the Steelers?
On defense, limit their big plays. It's really what it is. That middle of the field's that's the danger area, because we're so thin at inside backer, even safety. Even if we get Minka back,
if we get Minka back and Landon Roberts, I mean
that's but still we're Landon Roberts and Miles Jack in the middle. I'm much more comfortable than what we have now. But still, man, that middle of the field with that tight end, it burns us, man. We see it happen. That middle of the field can burn us with the tight end, but limit their big plays. Don't let them make any big plays. That's not Lamar Jackson back there. That's
as we mentioned, that's
don't let them beat you.
That's nearly a third of their football team. I mean, if you go by this list and who didn't participate in practice as of yesterday, you take a lot of big play capabilities away from this Ravens team.
Oh yeah, and and the loss of Odell, man, that's huge. They have like no offense out there, so don't let them make big plays. Shut down the running game as well. Force them to be one-dimensional. If you're going to lose, let Huntley be the one beat you, not Gus Edwards, man. That dude, he can take over a game. And then on offense, no turnovers. Don't turn the ball over. Mason has yet to turn the ball over. He hasn't had many throws that make you think he's going to be like Mitch Trubisky and throw in those high danger areas.
Mason Rudolph hasn't. I mean, this is as big as the game as it's getting. I think if Mason Rudolph makes a mistake, it's probably going to be in this game. Even if it's against a bunch of guys who aren't starters, it really has a feel to me. Again, snow, the rivalry, being in Baltimore, the fans. If he makes a mistake, it might be in this one, but hopefully they can keep that to a minimum. And it seems to me that they're going to be focused. I hope that they come out with the same mentality that they came out with in the last two games, opposed to the 3 games prior to. And that I think that's the key. The mentality of this team, the heart of the team, the want, the drive, the desire to win, to get into the playoffs, to beat this Baltimore team. I think that's key more than anything, Mike.
Yeah, and I want to say too that offense staying in rhythm. The way that the run game, the passing game are working in conjunction. We saw it last week. We were running. They brought a safety, and guess what? We threw over the top or did that little screen pass to keep them off balance. And Mason has a nice rhythm when he's in there, when he's dropping back. It's 1, 2, 3 steps, hit, and he's boom, the ball's out as soon as that back foot goes to where he's made his reads and it's there. He's standing in rhythm. That's helping the run game be in rhythm. Just keep that rhythm going, man. Keep them off balance on offense.
Yeah, you got to have good rhythm in a football game when you're, especially when you're trying to win. I mean, this game it could literally go 10 different ways. I could recall football games. I just seen something go down my feed on social media the other day where there was a game where the Steelers were up 35-10 against the Baltimore team a few years back. Here's the thing: if you're not playing anybody, you're playing a vanilla game plan. If you're looking forward to a game 2 weeks from now, it's very possible we could go out there and control the game. And that's best case scenario. Another scenario is these backups come out, they realize this is the Pittsburgh and Baltimore rivalry, even though our starters aren't playing, we're going to still play the game that this rivalry deserves. I mean, there's so many things that could happen, and again, those two parts of the game, the part with the weather, the part with the referees, I think the referees are going to be a bigger part of this than we like.
Huge story.
And if that ends up being what we're talking about for the next 9 months, how bad the referees screwed us, I'm going to be pissed off, man.
Me too. One thing I'm worried about is they have all these backups, and you said they're getting ready for the game in 2 weeks. This will be the time to put stuff out on film that your opponent's gonna have to look for, stuff you haven't used all year, stuff you've never run before. Run trick plays, come out in different formations, using different motions, not only to confuse the Steelers, but to confuse your future opponent. That's something else that they would have to study for, because really you don't have to win this game. This is the game where their coaching staff can do whatever they want on offense and defense, throw out new looks that they have never done. And that's what can trip us up, is not being ready for the unexpected.
I gotta say that if you're the script writers, what better script to write than the Steelers beat Baltimore and then have to face Baltimore again here in a couple of weeks. I think that's a moneymaker if you're sitting back writing these scripts. But come on, if you don't think that situation wouldn't draw some serious football attention. But anyway, let's get back to reality, come back to earth here. Steelers are going to be playing at the Ravens. Derpy, obviously you guys both picked Baltimore yesterday. I know Derpy does it for reverse psychology reasons. Derpy, do you really think the Steelers are going to lose tomorrow, or again, was this one of your tricks?
My tricks.
That's what I thought. Kirby's very superstitious. He's like a baseball player.
I don't know if there's anyone more superstitious between Derpy and Sidney Crosby.
Well, Derpy, he's one of them guys. He probably has the same seat he sits in every time. He probably sits a certain way. Drinks his Slurpee out of the straw, a certain angle. You know what I mean? I can see Derpy doing these things. But you know what? If it works, keep doing it, Derpy. I cannot. Who am I to judge? That's going to help us win tomorrow and get into the playoffs. Who am I to judge? Let's talk about JPZ Jr. for a moment. JPZ Jr., of course, our rookie cornerback, said his dad, Big Peasy, didn't like Joey's tackling at all.
Mm-hmm.
So he credits his dad for his improvement of his tackling skills, throughout the season. I would have liked to seen that. I'd like to be in the backyard when Big Peasy takes little Peasy out back and teaches him how to tackle.
I would like to see the video. I'm not sure the Steelers would like to see that video. Like, Joey, what are you doing to our number one corner? Yes, we want him to tackle better, but don't hurt him.
You know how dads always have that tough love? Can you imagine Jay Peasy being your dad giving you tough love?
Oh, hell no.
But
because he probably wouldn't know his own strength. Thought he's being gentle and he's putting you through the wall.
Yeah. But something
I didn't hit you that hard.
Exactly. I mean, the guy's a monster. He was a beast out on the field, a Pro Bowler, what he did. And there he is in the backyard tackling little Peasy. I would have paid to see this. I'm just saying.
You want to wrap him up like this?
Yeah. And they always do it way too hard. And then you end out running in the house, telling your mom. I can see the whole thing playing out. Falcons. The Falcons are willing, Mike, according to some sources, the Falcons are willing to give up a number one pick for Justin Fields. Derpy asked the question briefly before we got on the air. Would you give up a number one pick for Justin Fields?
No. I would give up like a package of like second round this year, third round next year, and
that's like the asking
lower
price,
pick.
though.
Yeah, I wouldn't. You can ask, what will you receive? I wouldn't give up a number one for him. But yeah, like a 2 and a 3 and some lower round picks, yeah, I would do that.
You'd give up all that for him?
Oh, especially, yeah. If I'm Atlanta, I would with B. John Robinson and Kyle Pitts, and I think they have Drake London at wide receiver. I would add him into that mix. I would do that, and like the reports that are coming out that Ralph was mentioning is they're looking to bring in Eric Bieniemy as their head coach. We saw what he can do. He has a damn good offense everywhere he goes. You get those pieces in place. That would be a fun offense down there, especially NFC South. Oh, hell yeah.
See, I kind of agree with Mike O'Malley here on the board. Good morning, Mike. I wouldn't give up a lot for him. I think that your draft picks are certainly a lot more valuable. And I don't know. I listen, I do acknowledge he's doing great things in Chicago, and that's a very hard thing to do. But Mitch Trubisky also was a high pick who did a lot of great things in Chicago. And I'm not comparing Mitch Trubisky to Justin Fields. I'm just saying, but I don't know. I think there's better routes to go, and I just wouldn't give up those high picks for Justin Fields because you could go out there and find something a little bit younger. Would you run the risk of going and drafting another quarterback who isn't what they're cracked up to be, like we've done in the past? Obviously, yes, of course that's a problem. But there are other options you can look around. I mean, people basically already have Russell Wilson wrapped in a box, sending him to Pittsburgh. I think that most people were thinking that he's going to be the Steeler quarterback next year. But that obviously is going to give us a lot of things to talk about this offseason. Once free agency comes, once the draft comes. But I think those are really, really valuable picks. And again, I'm not 100%. I acknowledge that he's a pretty damn good quarterback. But
that's just a bad organization up there, man. That runs through good skilled players. And
what about Kyler Murray?
Like DJ Moore is one of the best young receivers in the league, and he's having his best year with Justin Fields. So is Justin Fields just a bad quarterback? If that's the case, how come DJ Moore is having an outstanding year? He's the one getting him the ball. So
I have to bring him along with him.
Well, fuck yeah. If that's the case, I'm giving up multiple first round.
One thing that I know about the Bears is they never have good quarterbacks. That's one thing that's, kind of making
like they wanted to make him a pocket passer. He's not a pure pocket passer. You got to let him move around, let him, feel out the league the way like Lamar Jackson filled out the league, and then he will learn to become that pocket passer. I think he's going to be like a top 5 quarterback in the league? No, but I can see him petering out like at a top 15 quarterback in the right situation. Top 15 quarterback, that's damn good quarterback.
Yeah,
I think he's just like that Bears team they don't know how to build a team.
Line.
And that's the thing. I mean, if he's so great, why are they going to get rid of him, build around him? But
because
you know
it's
as
Chicago,
well as I do,
man.
Their line sucks.
So
they're the idiots that saw Patrick Mahomes light it up in college. Go, nah, we're taking 1 year wonder.
They're the idiots that thought it was a great idea to take Chase Claypool and give us a number 1 pick, basically. Also, guys, speaking of Chase Claypool, in Miami, Tyreek Hill's house fire was started by a child playing with a lighter, I guess was the way that happened down there.
Hey. I played with the lighter as a child too.
Well, Tyreek Hill isn't too, he's not the tallest guy. Maybe it was Tyreek playing with the lighter. An eyewitness thought it was one of the children.
Like I was talking about this at work with someone. I was like, that's when you look at your kid and go, son, you're grounded till you're 18.
Yeah.
But my theory is the child has money on Buffalo winning that game, and he's trying to do everything in his favor to hit that.
That's a good theory, Mike. That's a good theory.
I like it.
He's like, sorry, Dad, I love you, but I got to go where the money is.
According to Merrill Hodge, the Steelers started Mitch Trubisky weeks back over Mason Rudolph because simply Mitch makes more money.
Well, breaking news. That's how it works in every single sport.
Exactly.
So why is this goalie starting? Well, we paid him all that money.
And why did they give Kenny such a long leash? Because he's your number 1 pick.
One pick.
You're going to eventually run into these. Yeah, you're going to run into this problem eventually because he is the number 1 pick. So whatever we do down the road, that's going to play into it. And again, there's people that just sit there and call Tomlin stupid, call the organization because why didn't you play Mason instead of Mitch? Again, as we just said,
look throughout the league and look throughout sports. That's what happens. I mean, look across town. Look at Jeff Carter, who sucked all last year. You're paying him all that money. might as well play him. That's just what happens. It sucks, and you see it too all the time. Like, why is Mitch Trubisky kicking around the league forever? He was a first round pick. Why is Chase Claypool getting chance after chance?
Pick.
He was a high second round pick. It happens. Your first second round pick. You have big money contracts. Teams are going to give you a chance over and over again because why they don't want to be proven wrong and they don't want to be seen as wasting an asset. They invested that much in you. Do I agree with it? No, but that's just the way it is.
We can have guys coming into the league making more money. Anybody catch this guy? I think, Mike, you might have briefly brought him up a few weeks back in different conversation, but the Iowa superstar cornerback, Cooper DeJean,
yeah, baby,
is declared for the draft. Now, what's interesting about this, we got to go back a couple weeks now. The conversation between the things that were said by former running back Rashard Mendenhall for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
He recommended there be a white versus black all-pro game. The interesting thing about Cooper DeJean is this: he would be the first ever white cornerback picked in the first round, which he's projected to be. He's projected to be picked that high. Just interesting. I don't even think I would have ever brought this up on the show.
But, first one since 1969.
And they were all white back then.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
so that wasn't like
you can't go by
really
that.
wasn't that uncommon.
but
1969, the Mean Joe Green draft.
So there you go, guys. We might have a cornerback for the All Pro game next year. So, but this is Ravens.
Hey, we got one. We got one.
We do have this is Ravens week, of course, Mike. So what we're going to do now is what we do every week before a football game on Friday. We're going to hit our over/under segment of the game. And here we go. Derpy, are you ready?
Ready.
Mike, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm going to start with you, Mike. Mason Rudolph, over/under. Is he going to throw a half a touchdown? Over or under?
Oh, shit, man. This is Ravens week. Yeah.
All right. So against the skeleton crew defense, but nonetheless, it's Baltimore. You do
it
think
is Baltimore.
He's going to
rise to the occasion.
Touchdown. All right, Derpy. Same question over to you. Over/under. Mason Rudolph, a half a touchdown.
Over.
All right. There you go, guys. A Steeler running back, either one, Najee Harris or Jalen Warren, 100 yards rushing on the day. 100 yards, over or under, Mike?
I'm taking the over.
Interesting. Now this is only one.
I know it's going to be only one, and they do have one of the best, if not the best, run defense in the league. But I am taking the over.
Derpy, same question to you. Steeler running back, either Najee Harris or Jalen Warren. Do either one of these guys go over the 100-yard mark for the game tomorrow? Again, a defense that isn't completely their whole starting defense. So what do you think? 100 yards.
Yes.
One guy. So you both are pretty optimistic so far. For two guys that picked the Ravens, this is
I know.
Good. All right. Just throwing it out there. George Pickens, guys. George Pickens, 4.5 catches. George Pickens, 4.5 catches. Mike, over or under?
Ooh, that's going to be tough. I'm going to take the under on that one. Just under, though. All
right. Derpy, same question comes around to you. George Pickens, 4.5 catches. Did you say over or under?
I'm going to take the under as well.
All right. Offensive turnovers, coughing the ball up, interceptions, fumbles, whatever it may be. Offensive turnovers for the Steelers, committed by the Steelers, 1.5. Mike, more or less than 1.5?
I'm going to take the over just because of the weather conditions.
Derpy, same question comes to you. The offense of the Steelers, do they commit more or less than 1.5 turnovers?
An interception by Mason.
So you're going to go under. Mike, Chris Boswell, 2.5 field goals in this football game. You got two of the best kickers in the NFL. Yep. Tucker, Boswell. Does Boswell make more than 2.5 field goals or less?
I'm going to take the under.
All right. Derpy, Boswell, 2.5 field goals.
Under.
All right. We're going to hop over to the defensive side of the ball. TJ Watt, a half sack. So does he get a sack? Does he not get a sack? I guess we could throw in a half sack, but just for the sake of it, does TJ have a sack or no? Which is going to be huge in figuring out and seeing if he's going to be the sack leader of the season. Mike,
I'm taking the over.
he's going to sack. He's going to get one at least.
He's going to have a sack. I'm predicting a big game for TJ Watt.
All right, Derpy.
Or I want my money back.
Derpy, over to you. TJ Watt, does he get a sack or no?
Turn down for what?
All right. Derpy really wants that tattoo, so.
He really does.
Clam, guys, over under. Does Clam get 2 tackles tomorrow?
Oh, he's going to get 2 jumping on the pile, so yeah.
Derpy, Cam Hayward, 2 tackles. Does he get more? Does he get less? Does he get the same? What do you think? So what?
2 over.
All right.
Derpy. I don't know.
All right, Derpy.
Oh, Derpy.
Defensive turnovers. The amount of defensive turnovers that this team caused tomorrow, guys? Over under. The number is 1.5. Does this defense cause more or less than 1.5 turnovers against Baltimore's offense tomorrow in the snow?
I'm gonna take the over as well on this one. I think it's gonna be a sloppy game.
Derpy, speaking of sloppy, is it going to be more or less than 1.5 turnovers tomorrow? The Steelers defense causes. You're going to say over?
Yeah.
Interesting. And finally, the last one, fellas, the one that we wait for every week, devastating injuries. I'm going to go to Derpy. Mike's occupied for just a moment. Mike, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. The devastating injuries. Will the Steelers endure a significant injury to a significant player that could cost him to be out the rest of the game tomorrow, or further, if that be the case? Mike, a half of a devastating injury for the Pittsburgh Steelers, over or under?
I'm taking the over because it's happened every single game this year, it feels like, and especially down the stretch.
All right, fair enough. Derpy, over to you. Last one, man. Devastating injuries. 1/2. Do we get one, or does one does not happen? Which one do you think?
Alex Highsmith.
You think tomorrow's going to be a Highsmith injury, huh? Interesting.
Yeah.
Show us how stupid we really are for giving him that big contract.
Yeah.
You look at his stats. He's having a great year, guys. He's been amazing. He's phenomenal.
So there you go. That is your over and unders for the week. While we were talking football, we're going to get back to this, guys. We do have a few other things we've got to talk about. A big win last night for the Penguins. One thing I do want to mention, Mike, at the end of the show yesterday, you mentioned Aliquippa getting bumped up to 5A because they're too good. My question is this, guys: how come Southern Columbia on the other side of the state is in 3A? They just won their 7th straight state championship. Yet they're not getting bumped up for those competitive reasons. It's bullshit. One other bullshit situation with the Aliquippa Quips is this: the PIAA is counting Tyke Hayes as a transfer. As a transfer. So now this is how screwed up the PIAA is, and how Aliquippa is getting screwed. He's been the starting running back for the Aliquippa Quips since he was a freshman.
Yeah.
Yet PIAA counts him as a transfer. They move Aliquippa up for competitive reasons.
Yep.
The team I just said, Southern Columbia, 7 state champions in a row they won. They haven't bumped them up from 3A. What's going on, Mike, with this Aliquippa team?
They are being singled out and punished.
Bullshit.
How Tyke Hayes is counted as transfer? It's
with all the bullshit they have over on the eastern side of the state with these kids.
Well, like, aren't they like that Southern Columbia is partnered with another school that these kids get enrolled to so they can go there, so they don't count as transfers? That is complete and utter bullshit. Because who's transferring into Aliquippa? Like, I saw people saying that on all the time. People are like, we live here. No one is transferring in here.
There was an incident back in 2012.
It's a small community.
2012. Where there was a kid from Beaver Falls who was going to play for Aliquippa, and it was such a big story. But the fact of the matter was, all of his cousins lived in Aliquippa, and he was moving. It's crazy what they're doing to this team. They're being punished for being the best.
That's what it is.
You can't find a way to beat them on the field, so you're going to try to figure out ways to beat them. Ralph, you're 100% right. They should be ashamed of themselves. And the fact that this St. Joe's team, I'll argue this till I'm dead. The fact that they have half of their team is from New Jersey. You're transferring from another state. You're not from this state. How can you play for a high school
Yeah.
championship game if you're from a whole entire different state.
Mhm.
This PIAA is so screwed up. I don't know if
Yeah,
it's corruption. I don't know if they're just stupid, but there's a lot of bad stuff going on with PIAA, and Aliquippa is getting the brunt of it.
It wasn't it like years ago, Aliquippa volunteered to move up.
And they went and won a state championship up in 5A.
And then they just keep bumping them up. They're gonna have 40 kids on the sideline going up against teams that have 100 kids on the side.
Like you said last night or yesterday, Mike, they're gonna be in the ACC in a couple seasons. So I mean,
like literally they're a 1A school based on enrollment, and they're playing 5A now. That 4 levels higher than what they should.
And I think there's no better way to word it than how Ralph did. They should be ashamed. The PIAA should be ashamed of even doing this. And it's pathetic. It's pathetic, and it's very transparent. And it needs to be stopped.
But it won't. It will keep happening. It has to be these surrounding schools that are just complaining about it, saying it's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair.
And you know what? If those schools are stop complaining and start working harder, maybe if you work your team as hard as Aliquippa prepares, maybe you can beat these guys, and then you won't be complaining and saying these guys. It's a bunch of bullshit.
Yep.
Mike, before I lose my mind, let's go to hockey. Pittsburgh Penguins with the big win last night. I turned the game on in the first period. It was 8 minutes left or 4 minutes left, and the Pens were up 4-2 over Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And all I could think to myself was this little runt Marchand out there. So I sat down, I watched it for a while. Game ends up getting tied 5-5 in the third period. Sidney Crosby scores the game-winning power play goal in the third period with a few minutes left to win this game 6-5. Penguins improved to 19-14-4, while Boston drops to 23-8-6. They're a really good team. Penguins went up there, took care of business. Mike, this was Crosby's 173rd 3-point game, and that's 7th all time.
Yep.
Also, Evgeny Malkin, it was his 1,111th game of all time. In that period of time, Mike, the top 5 players, the 5 top active players that have that many games, Malkin falls number 2 in amount of points scored in that many, only to Crosby. So Crosby has 1,400 in his first 1,100. Malkin scored 1,261 in his first 1,100. Ovi 1,230 in his first 1,100. Then Patrick Kane with 1,176, and then Stamkos with 1,094.
Some of the greatest, you can argue, like some of the greatest players of all time in that list, and they've all in this era have played.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the amount of talent that we have seen in the past 15 20 years is just nuts from the NHL right now. And shame on the NHL. You want to talk about people who should be ashamed? The NHL should be ashamed for not marketing their league and their product better, not marketing these stars better.
Oh, absolutely.
These are just generational athletes.
Because they're going to be gone at some point, and you're going to think to yourself, well, shit, if we still had these guys, we'd be able to market and do this. And once they're gone, they're gone. They're not young anymore, any of these guys. So,
no, like, God, Crosby, Ovi, Malkin, they only have a few years left.
And Stamkos sure feels like he's been in the league forever.
He's the one who I feel like, my God, he feels like he should have been from like that Yager generation. That's how long he feels like he's been in the league. Yeah, Brian, I think Aliquippa is too good for the ACC.
Right. Also, Sidney Crosby did get selected to the All-Star game. That was announced yesterday. This is Sidney Crosby's 10th trip to the All-Star game he's going to be making, which is only 2nd in Pittsburgh Penguin history. Mario Lemieux had 13 All-Star appearances as a Penguin. Sid has 10, Yager had 9, and Gino had 7.
Look for Sid to come up with a little injury in the game before, so he doesn't have to go.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I would do at this stage of my career. Like this, I've done too much for the league. I'm taking some time for myself.
This Pittsburgh Penguin team, we know they have had a lot of ups and downs. They've been on a roller coaster, as they do during every hockey season. Is something that I learned. But since 12-12, since December 12th, no team in the NHL has more wins or points than the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Penguins have 8 wins since 12-12, and they have 17 points gained since 12-12. So say what you want about this Penguin team. Things are on the up. Things are improving, and they're starting to look better. And again, NHL season is always a roller coaster. There's 82 games that are played. I think they're going to be just fine. You can't bring in another Hall of Famer and things get worse. So I think that they're going to be fine. And as I said, over the past month, nobody's played better, Mike.
No, and they're finding ways to win. That they're playing like the team we thought they would be. The only thing I'm worried about is they lost John Ludwig on defense.
Yes.
Yeah, he's out. So that puts POJ back into the lineup. Him and Eric Carson on the ice at the same time. Two guys that aren't very sound defensively on the same pairing. That's where I'm a little worried there. But as long as they keep scoring goals the way they're scoring, and hopefully Jari can have a bounce back game. He, even though he wasn't in goal last night, he was in goal for that Capitals game where he got yanked early. He was playing pretty solid. Had a blip. Hopefully that's all it is, and the team can keep rolling because, like you said, they're on a nice little run right now.
They're back in action tomorrow. So if you if the Steelers win and you're still feeling good about Pittsburgh sports, go ahead and turn over at 7:00 because they are hosting the Buffalo Sabres. And if you want to get your energy and your competitive juices moving for the Steeler game at noon tomorrow, the Pitt Panthers host Louisville at the Pete. So there's plenty of Pittsburgh sports tomorrow. These two bookends to the headliner, the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens, of course. Guys, tomorrow, big game. Mike, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about the website?
The 2dumyinzers.com, the number 2dumyinzers.com. We have all of our social links over there. We have our merch store over there with the blog over there. I have a new one getting ready to go up right after the show, all at the 2dumyinzers.com.
Go check it out, everybody. www.the2dumyinzers.com. That's www.the2dumyinzers.com. As Mike said, a lot of cool stuff over there. Go over and check it out. I do want to give a couple let me see. Yeah, I do want to give a couple plugs here to a couple of guys on the board showed up today. Brian Pasquale, his new show just started this week. It's called One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. That show is on Wednesdays on WBVP Radio, Beaver County Radio. It's 99.3 FM or 12:30 AM. This show is at 5:00 every Wednesday. Check him out. And then also Ralph Williams has the Sports Corner with Ralph Williams, which is every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Also Sports Show. It is also on WBVP 99.3, 12:30 a.m. Check it out, guys. Two really good shows. I think you'll enjoy them both. Be sure to check them out. Also, I'll get into this in a second. Mike, are you ready? You guys ready for some Baltimore Ravens trivia?
Oh, I am ready for some Baltimore Ravens trivia, and we already have a couple answers on the board from earlier from Brian.
All right. What did Brian say?
He says, without even hearing the question, his two guesses are the Mayflower Moving Company or Art Modell.
I like it. There's a good.
And I told him those are very good guesses.
The percentages are high.
They're very, very high.
Derpy, are you ready for some Baltimore Ravens trivia? This is Ravens week. This is the biggest game of the season. Again, the Steelers season can be over in roughly 35 hours, give or take. Derpy, you ready for this?
Derpy. Here we go.
All right, guys, here we go. Question of the day. Who holds the franchise single season rushing record for the Baltimore Ravens? Who holds the franchise single season rushing record for the Baltimore Ravens franchise? Guys, go ahead and think that over. I can give you answers in a moment if you'd like. We are on 5 days a week, everybody, right here from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. in the show that we do live every day. We upload over on Spotify in podcast form at 8:00 p.m. If you're at the gym, in the car, you don't have a chance to watch the show, or you prefer to just listen, you can check out the show in podcast form every day at 8:00 p.m. Go check it out. All right, gentlemen, who holds the franchise single season rushing record for the Baltimore Ravens? Do either one of you fellas need choices?
Yes.
All right, Mike, choices or no? Is your mic on?
No, yeah, now it's back on. I do not need choices. I'm gonna follow up Brian's answer. I'm gonna piggyback off of him. Jamal Lewis.
Jamal Lewis. Now, is this his final answer?
Final answer.
All right, let me lock you in. All right, you're all locked in. Derpy, who holds the franchise single season rushing record for the Ravens? Mike says Jamal Lewis. Brian on the board also says Jamal Lewis. Here are your choices. Was it A, Ray Rice, B, Priest Holmes, C, Jamal Lewis, or D, Willis McGahee? Derpy, I'm looking for the running back that holds the franchise single season rushing record for Baltimore. We have two Jamal Lewises. Again, your choices are Ray Rice, Priest Holmes, Jamal Lewis, and Willis McGahee. Derpy, who do you think it is?
I had to make sure. I'm going to go with Jamal Lewis.
All right. Fair enough. Is that your final answer?
Yep.
Let me lock Derpy into place. There we go. Question of the day: who holds franchise single season rushing record for the Ravens? Everybody says Jamal Lewis. Of course, the answer is Art Modell. No, I'm just teasing.
Mayflower Moving Company.
Mayflower Moving Company. The answer, guys, is of course Jamal Lewis, and Brian is right. I believe it was a 2000 plus season, if I'm not mistaken.
I almost forgot about him until I saw that name up there. I'm like, oh yeah, Jamal.
So there you go, guys. That's the last ball. Well, you know what? If we end up winning and seeing these guys in a few weeks, we'll do more Baltimore Ravens trivia. But as of right now, that is it for the season. Guys, I do want to say real quick. I want one quick story. Did anybody see this before we get ready to wrap it up? Georgia man opens a chip bag with a lighter sustains burns over 75% of his body. He couldn't open the chip bag with his hands like a normal person, like a 3-year-old can do. He takes a lighter and he goes to open the chip bag, and somehow sitting in his recliner, he gets burns over 75% of his body. Anybody see this?
I did not see that. Yeah, that's going to be nominated for the Darwin Awards right there, buddy. Get some scissors, get a little pocket knife, something.
And who can't pull it? I mean, come on. That's like I said, a 2-year-old can do this.
Like maybe you have like arthritis.
Maybe he doesn't have thumbs like a dog or something. But your next option is a lighter.
Yeah. I know these people are they're crazy.
Scissors.
Now I've heard it all.
Something.
Now I've heard it all.
Pop the bag. You know how you used to do when you were a kid? You want to pop, make it pop or let you squeeze it.
Yeah.
But no.
I heard that story.
Apparently the oils on the inside of the bag are extremely flammable.
Yeah.
And it managed to get over 75% of his body somehow. What a strange story. What a strange story.
It's gonna make me sound cold hearted, but I have zero empathy.
Yeah,
you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
There you go.
Zero empathy on that one.
Seems like anything you hear anymore in the news is it would fall into this category. Nothing's normal.
No, nothing's normal. Nothing has been normal since 2012.
No, you're right. Some might even argue back to 2001. I think that since the 9/11 happened, the things got just so bizarre. And as you said, 2012, it certainly accelerated. But that's a story. That's a whole nother segment for another day. I do want to say thank you to everybody for checking us out. We appreciate each and every one of you. We couldn't do it without you. We want to thank everybody on the board. You always keep things interesting. Mike, I'm going to come to you. What do you have before we take off for the weekend? We got a big game, of course. Steelers, a lot of NFL football. Monday we'll come back. We'll talk about all that and the national championship, of course, which will be played on Monday night. But Mike, going into the weekend, brother, what you got, man?
I got Minka Fitzpatrick won the NFL's 2024 Bart Starr Award, given annually for outstanding character, integrity, and leadership on and off the field. He's the first Steeler to win the award.
Was given to him annually?
No. Minka Fitzpatrick, he won the Bart Starr Award. He's the.
I guess where you said they gave it to him annually, but anyway, yes,
it's given annually.
Annually, I see. Derpy, Ravens week. What do you got, man?
TJ Watt, you are Defensive Player of the Year.
All right, there you go. Anybody else? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I got nothing. The little monster who's been running in and out, he has nothing to add as well.
No, Derpy's been talking all game. What are you talking about?
I can't stand you guys.
Derpy.
But no, it is big. Everybody, don't forget to check. As I said, nobody's gonna forget to check this game out. But it is a big game tomorrow. You got snow coming, division rivals, playoffs are on the line. Mason's under center. A lot of things going on. We'll be certain to be back Monday morning to talk about everything. guys, if that's it for you,
Yeah, that's all I got. No crazy updates on Twitter about who's in, who's out. So it's looking like the rosters are set.
all right, get them terrible towels out, sit in that right spot in the couch where everything good happens when you're sitting, and cheer on the Steelers, guys. Big game tomorrow. Let's hope we get into the playoffs. Let's beat Baltimore, and we'll go from there, everybody. For the two dumb Yinzers, Derpy, Mike from the Steelers Central mobile studio, and myself, everybody